I got accepted for the medical study, which is super exciting. I get to live out my dream of being a professional lab rat. The Empress and quantumly entangled particles here. There's something in the energy. Oh my god. Split to the Emperor with... Okay, we're pulling cards. Ten of Pentacles and the Magician underneath of that. That's crazy. With quantum connection and the Dragonfly. So immediately here, Divine Union under that. Okay, well, anyway, that is a fucking awesome message. We've got shit getting unblocked here. This is progress, massive, momentous progress. I think that whatever we just did, energetically, I deleted all the dating apps, by the way. That was my little goodbye. I hopped on, I saw that my guy was online, and I just uninstalled. I'm like a little proud of myself. You know, it was always kind of my weakness back in the day. But we arrived at the beginning, and we know the situation for the first time. We had to choose different for ourselves. Justice and the Hierophant here. I think in order to herald in this divine union, this divine counterpart world, I think I had to be willing to look that past circumstance that I couldn't say no to, because I was a people pleaser back then too, and I would have done anything for his attention. At the end of the day, let's be real, I didn't have to do much, but like I would have. High Priestess. It wasn't one of those circumstances where I had to go out of my way and try and get attention, but I didn't want anybody else. Maybe that's really where the Nine of Wands began. King of Swords. It's weird. Knight of Pentacles. You know, there's always another layer deeper than you think. And it's so funny to me that Spirit has a way of... Ace of Cups here. Spirit has this way of taking parts of the story that weren't relevant. Like parts that I didn't tell. Like this guy that I lost my virginity to that just popped up randomly. He was probably always part of the cycle. He was probably always going to be a test for me. But I never considered it. In Georgia, he was so far out of my mind that I never considered that he would play a role, or that he played a role in my history and choices even. Like the whole brown eyes thing. At the end of the day, that's probably where it started. The Lovers. I was probably looking for him in other people to a degree. And every time I went chasing those brown eyes, I got the same. Granted, he was never mean to me. He was never rude. If anything, he was supportive. But he could never be what I wanted him to be. That was never going to be a thing. And when I was younger, I don't think that I could really accept that. Eventually I did, but it wasn't an easy pill to swallow, and it wasn't an easy situation to move on from, especially because my first connection ever was so intense. And I didn't even ever think to compare anybody else to him. But it was probably up there with, you know, the intensity level of the false twin and the twin flame. And the twin flame still probably takes the cake. It's the most powerful connection I've had. Nephilim. Alignment. That's lining up with the Emperor and the Empress. But I never would have thought to tell those stories. It never would have occurred to me to involve him in this tale, this journey. But he played a role. He was always meant to. He was always meant to play a role. And I don't feel any kind of way. The wildflowers, the blue whale. I don't feel loss or grief or what could have been, or like it was a missed opportunity, because I'm happy and content within myself. Ripple. That's lining up with the Empress and the Dragonfly. And it just blows my mind a little bit, Mirror, at this entire time. He's been watching us change. He's been watching us grow. He just didn't say anything, you know? He watched it all happen. Every step of this transformation, finding balance, he watched it happen 3 months at a time. Every time I would download those apps and update my pictures, tell my story in a 50-character blurb, he watched. And it's a little bit crazy to me that he's seen every stage of my life at this point. The Archer and the Cardinals, focused message from Spirit, bearing witness to all the changes that I've had. It's a little cathartic. The Starseed. But this Ripple, the Blue Jay, I'm sure that there's an outcome and effect that this is meant to have on him too. And I'm getting that the Traveler interdimensional timeline shifting, lining up with the quantum connection. I don't need to portal jump again right now, which is tradition. Every time I exit, a situation, and this might be the fastest Nine of Wands turnaround we've had so far on this journey. Trusting that I won't just run into him, which is possible. He lives very close. But this is the fastest Nine of Wands turnaround that I've ever had. The word with justice. Speaking our truth might have been an important factor here, because I never really told many, if any, people about that connection, because it was so taboo. The Elephant and the Earth Angel. I mean, I was a teenager. There was a big age difference. It was kind of taboo. And the last thing I wanted was for anybody to think that he took advantage of me, because he didn't. It was a genuine connection. The Awakened and the Third Party. Divine Feminine. But at the end of the day, Hierophant lining up with Justice and the Divine Feminine. I don't think that this was supposed to make anybody feel bad about their choices. I think that we were just supposed to have this little progress check, have this little test to see if we would go back to an old pattern, to an old way of being. Divine justice lining up with the Hierophant in the world. And when we chose not to facilitate someone else's pain, because let's be real, by engaging in that situation, we would be hurting another person. We would become the third party in that situation. And that is not our role. Phoenix and the Wraith. We are not a third party. We're not okay with being a third party. Unstoppable. Our story. So much bigger than that.